Let's talk about game design. I use two main pillars when I'm designing games nowadays, and I've been making games for about 8 years, so with those 8 years, there's a lot of experimentation, trial and error, and I'm starting to refine the process of designing games, at least for myself anyway. What I'm looking at is what makes a game shareable. Don't know if that's a word, but increasing the shareability of a game. And what I mean by that is looking at things like YouTube, looking at streamers on Twitch, seeing what games sort of catch on with them and why. And there's two pillars to this, which I have identified anyway. And not every game follows these, of course. These are just my pillars, the way that I like to work and the way that I like to design my games nowadays. But these two pillars are providing a canvas and allowing experimentation. And by the way, I'm still working on the names for them. I'm not quite set on those two names, but I hope they convey the idea. So what do I mean by both? Well, let's have a wee dive in. So number one, providing a canvas. By this I mean letting someone alter the game in some sort of way, which kind of makes every playthrough unique to some regard. It means that when I play a game, I'm seeing it different to how you would when you play it. And this really goes in any genre, so particular games I'm thinking about are colony sims like RimWorld or Dwarf Fortress, where you're given tools and the overall sort of loop is building a base and maintaining it. So the base is going to be different visually for every single person that plays it. And the same with games like roguelikes and games like Vampire Survivors and other games that are influenced by Vampire Survivors. You're given the tools to construct a combination of abilities and upgrades, which your players are then empowered to sort of shout from the rooftops and say, "Oh, look what I made in this game! Look how cool that is! This is what I made." So it's kind of giving a canvas to the player, providing them with the paint and seeing what they come up with, and that encourages a sort of culture in your game. Where you're allowing people to jump on social media, like jump on Twitter, tweet about your game and post screenshots, make videos about your game, and discuss things on like a Steam forum, giving your community a little bit more life. And for my second pillar, allowing experimentation, it's pretty much just that. So give the players a bunch of tools, and you'll see there's a bit of crossover between the two pillars here, and they can combine really nicely in my opinion. So give the player a bunch of tools and as much freedom as possible. I see a lot of games that try to wing clip players, so they'll give you a bunch of tools, upgrades, but they'll limit the amount that you can acquire, so power limits, which are quite important for competitive games, totally understandable. But in my design philosophy, I just like to ensure the freedom to play however you like. Again, this is empowering your players to shout from the rooftops what they've discovered in your game. So somebody shouting, "Look, I've just combined ability X and ability Y in this shooter and it's totally broken." And that actually leads on to something else that I've noticed, especially since Vampire Survivors took off and other games like it have become popular, is that players love to find a way to break the system or game the system. So they love just getting a bunch of tools, combining them and finding what makes totally overpowered builds, to the extent where they feel like they've beaten the people who made the game. And if you play these kind of games, then just ask yourself, don't you find the same sort of enjoyment when you're playing it? I know as game developers it can sometimes be a bit difficult to remember what actually makes the game fun and what you enjoy about the game, because you get so wired into the fine details and the technical aspects of it. But ask yourself, is that not what you enjoy as well? And this isn't just exclusive to the roguelike genre. It can be applied in any kind of game. So another game I play a lot is Football Manager, and you'll find that finding totally broken formations and tactics is such a popular online topic, and it gets people talking every single year, and it has done for 20 plus years. City builders as well, finding the most optimal way of configuring services for your city and configuring the traffic, and then RPGs as well, you'll always get people who obsess over min-maxing the hell out of their stats. So gamers love to try and find a way to beat the system. So what I like to do is just design the game like I'm designing a toy. Design a toy that will allow people to play with it how they like, experiment, and come up with really their own way of having fun, as opposed to providing a puzzle for them to beat. So I hope that helped. I hope that was a wee bit interesting. It's just an insight into how I design games nowadays. But thanks for listening. Cheers.